Imagine discovering an ancient clay jar buried in the sands of Iraq. Inside it, a copper cylinder and an iron rod, all carefully sealed. At first glance, it looks ordinary, but when scientists experimented with it, they found it could actually generate electricity. Yes, more than 2,000 years before modern science, someone may have built a working battery. But who created it? And why? Was it really used for electricity, or something far more mysterious? Welcome to the story of the Baghdad Battery, one of history's most puzzling archaeological discoveries. The Baghdad Battery, also called the Parthian Battery, is one of the most mysterious artifacts ever discovered. At first, it seems like nothing more than a simple clay jar, only about 6 inches tall. Yet what lay inside stunned scientists and historians alike. The jar contained a copper cylinder, carefully sealed with asphalt, and an iron rod positioned at its center. When archaeologists in the 1930s uncovered it near Baghdad, Iraq, no one suspected it could represent a form of ancient technology, but experiments revealed something shocking. When filled with acidic liquids, such as vinegar or lemon juice, the device could actually produce a small electric current. This finding raised a breathtaking question. Could people living more than 2,000 years ago have understood electricity long before the experiments of Benjamin Franklin or the inventions of Thomas Edison? If true, this would completely challenge the way we understand the history of science. The Baghdad Battery has sparked endless debates about its purpose. One leading theory suggests it was used for electroplating, a process of coating objects with precious metals such as gold or silver. This would explain the advanced craftsmanship found in Mesopotamian artifacts. Another idea is that it may have been used in religious ceremonies, where the strange effect of a mild electric shock might have been interpreted as divine power. Some even argue it could have served medical purposes, providing weak electrical stimulation to ease pain or heal wounds. Yet not everyone agrees. Many scholars believe the artifact might not have been a battery at all, but simply a storage container for sacred scrolls or documents. According to this view, the resemblance to a modern battery is merely a coincidence, and the electrical experiments we perform today are an imposition of modern thinking on an ancient object. Still, the discovery is impossible to ignore. The idea that multiple Baghdad batteries connected in series could generate higher voltages only deepens the mystery. Replicas have even been built and successfully used to electroplate small objects, suggesting that the ancients might indeed have stumbled upon electricity. Whether it was truly an example of lost technology or just a misunderstood jar, the Baghdad Battery forces us to reconsider the knowledge and creativity of past civilizations. We like to think of ourselves as the first masters of science, but artifacts like this whisper a different story, one where ancient people may have understood forces of nature that we are only rediscovering today. The Baghdad Battery remains a puzzle without a final answer. Perhaps it was nothing more than pottery with an unusual design, or perhaps it is evidence that the ancients were far more advanced than we imagine. Until more discoveries are made, the jar continues to sit in silence, guarding a secret that may forever remain hidden, an ancient spark of power buried in the sands of history. The Baghdad Battery was discovered in 1938 by Wilhelm Koenig, a German archaeologist working at the Iraq Museum. The artifact came from the small village of Kujut Rabu, near modern-day Baghdad, in a land that once belonged to the Parthian Empire, dating back to around 250 BCE. When Koenig examined the clay jar with its copper cylinder and iron rod, he realized that it resembled the components of a galvanic cell, the very principle behind a battery. To test his suspicion, he recreated the jar using acidic solutions such as vinegar. To his surprise, the device produced a weak electrical current. The idea that an artifact over 2,000 years old could generate electricity sent shockwaves through the academic community. From that moment, the Baghdad Battery became one of archaeology's greatest mysteries. Some researchers developed the electroplating theory, suggesting the battery may have been used to deposit a thin layer of gold or silver onto other objects. Since there is strong evidence of advanced metalwork in Mesopotamia, this explanation appears plausible. Others proposed a more unusual possibility that it was used for medicinal purposes, delivering mild electrical stimulation to treat illnesses or relieve pain. But not all scholars are convinced. Critics argue that there is no written record from the Parthian period mentioning electricity or batteries. Without textual evidence, they suggest the jar may have been something far simpler, perhaps a storage vessel for scrolls, documents, or sacred objects. In this view, the iron rod acted as a pin or holder for a lid, and the resemblance to a battery is simply coincidence. According to this argument, the electrical function only appears when modern scientists fill the jar with acids, something the ancients may never have done. Regardless of its true function, the discovery has fascinated historians, scientists, and mystery seekers for nearly a century. For some, it represents proof of a lost ancient knowledge that challenges our view of technological progress. For others, it is a reminder that not every artifact fits neatly into our modern categories of science. Whatever the truth, the Baghdad Battery remains one of the most intriguing finds of the ancient world, sparking debates that show no signs of ending. Over the decades, the Baghdad Battery has given rise to multiple theories, each trying to uncover its true function. Some explanations lean on science, while others dive into the world of symbolism and mystery. One theory suggests the artifact was part of a ritual device. In ancient times, even a small spark or mild shock would have been viewed as supernatural. If a priest demonstrated the jar producing an electrical effect, it could have been used to reinforce religious authority, convincing worshippers of divine power. Electricity, invisible yet powerful, would have carried deep spiritual meaning. Another fascinating idea is its use in funerary practices. The jar may have been placed in tombs, with the iron rod and copper cylinder symbolizing the union of different elements. Some suggest that if filled with certain liquids, the device could have created a chemical reaction, producing light or small currents, acting as a symbolic bridge between the world of the living and the afterlife. There is also the alchemical theory. Mesopotamia and surrounding regions were centers of early chemistry and medicine. The battery might have been an experiment with natural reactions, not for practical use, but for knowledge and discovery. In this sense, it could represent an early attempt at experimental science, centuries before formal scientific methods were developed. A more controversial idea connects the battery to ancient navigation. Some researchers propose that the jars could have been used with simple magnetic instruments, or in processes that help sailors orient themselves. While evidence is thin, this theory highlights the possibility that ancient societies were more technically resourceful than commonly believed. The most radical explanation comes from the lost technology theory. According to this view, the Baghdad Battery was not an isolated artifact, but part of a larger, forgotten energy system. If multiple batteries had been linked, they could have powered devices we can only speculate about today, perhaps for communication, preservation, or even experimental lighting. Supporters argue that the lack of similar finds does not disprove its use, but may simply mean that most such objects were lost to time. Critics of these theories caution against overinterpretation, but the persistence of these ideas shows how strongly the Baghdad Battery captures the imagination. Each theory, whether religious, symbolic, alchemical, navigational, or technological, reflects the possibility that our ancestors engaged with natural forces in ways we are still struggling to understand. The Baghdad Battery is more than just a curiosity. It is a symbol of how fragile our understanding of history truly is. If a small clay jar can spark debates for nearly a century, imagine what other secrets remain buried beneath the sands of time. For some researchers, this artifact is proof that ancient peoples may have had knowledge far beyond what textbooks tell us. For others, it is a humble tool that has been dramatically misinterpreted. But here's the most fascinating part. Whether it was used for electroplating, for religious rituals, or was simply a storage vessel, the fact that it can generate electricity is undeniable. This suggests that at some point, humanity stumbled upon a force so fundamental to the universe, long before it was officially discovered. Was this knowledge accidental, or was it passed down from a much older, forgotten civilization? The mystery deepens when you realize how many similar puzzles exist. From the Antikythera mechanism in Greece to the pyramids of Egypt, history is filled with artifacts that don't seem to fit the timeline we've been taught. The Baghdad Battery stands proudly among these enigmas, reminding us that history is not always linear. and that human curiosity has always been pushing against the edge of the unknown. Perhaps the most powerful lesson of the Baghdad Battery is not whether it was truly a battery, but what it represents: the limitless capacity of human ingenuity. We may never know its true purpose, but its existence sparks questions, and questions are the fire that drive discovery. Every time we dig into the past, we are really asking about our future. So the next time you see a simple object in a museum, remember the Baghdad Battery. Sometimes the smallest artifacts hold the biggest secrets. Sometimes the tiniest spark can ignite the brightest flame of wonder. And who knows, maybe the people of ancient Mesopotamia understood more about energy, power, and the mysteries of the universe than we ever dared to believe. If you enjoyed this mystery, don't forget to subscribe to The Alchemist for more hidden secrets of history, and share this journey with others who love uncovering the unknown.